Good morning, America. This is Jimmy Smith. I'm the host of The Big Show, hosted, of course, by me every Sunday morning. My name is Jimmy Smith. Alongside of me is my co-host and color commentator and also host of Pissed Off Parent. Give it up one time for Dwayne Ward. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. How about you?
It's good to see you again. Haven't seen you for a week. I don't even think we even talked this week. I don't even know.
No, we've been busy burning midnight oil. You got all your stuff going on. I got all my stuff going on. It's just moving along. I will tell you, I saw today's thing, and I'm like, woo, we're going to have a barn burner today.
So I'm putting together the podcast, right? And, one of the things that I was told whenever I started doing podcast is, Jimmy, the hardest part about doing podcast is trying to figure out what you're going to talk about every single week. Because we've been doing this now for 15 weeks or so, about 3 months. The Big Show podcast has been going on. And, there's some truth to that. Every week I try to think about what I can do, what I can share with everyone that would help them. And, it's tough to come up with something that is informative, but also not repetitive. And, sometimes I've done podcasts on things that just have happened to me that week. So conversations that I've had have inspired me to go, you know what, that's what I'm going to talk about this Sunday. And this is actually another example of it. So I'm having a conversation about dating this week. And it was another one of those kind of, typical kind of conversations where someone had said, a female friend had said, well, men don't really care about that. When one of my guy friends when one of my guy friends had said, yeah, but it's hard to find a woman because of this, that, and the other. And then she had chimed in and said, yeah, that's not a big deal, though. And he goes, well, it kind of is. And she goes, but men don't care about that. And I thought that was real rich because I've noticed that when it comes to men having to understand, learn, and deal with the modern woman, the expectations here is we're supposed to be flexible and understanding and caring and compassionate and overlook some of the things that we find valuable or are looking for. When you flip the roles and you start asking women to kind of do the same, you get a lot of pushback. And some of that pushback is so fierce and so I don't want to use the word rude, but maybe defensive. Maybe I'll use defensive. Sometimes women get really defensive and they'll say, well, you're not a real man unless you do this, or you're a sexist if you think this way. And I tell you, Dwayne, I'm a guy who I feel that I'm a very fair person. I'm an equal opportunity, let you have it kind of guy. You and I have been on this show and I don't want to use the word trash, but we have really let men have it, haven't we?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you go back and you watch and really listen, I mean, sometimes people can't take those blinders off, but if you really listen, you have unloaded on the guys too, where they have failed miserably.
Yeah.
And you've called that out. I mean, yeah, you're definitely equal opportunity. I mean, you let the women have it. I'll say sometimes you've been kind of nice to the ladies.
I've gotten that feedback.
You've been kind of nicer to the ladies and the guys. And well, it goes back to guys. That's what we need. We need to hear that. I mean, sometimes ladies can't hear some of the hard truths, and you set it up just right for them. But no, you've blasted the guys. I almost want to say more often than the ladies.
I appreciate you saying that because I think that's the truth. I really do. I honestly feel that I've really been more brash towards the men than I have the women, and I don't have children, but I've heard that it's a little easier to raise boys than it is to raise girls.
Oh yeah.
And although I haven't raised children, here's what I have done. I have done a lot of counseling, a lot of coaching with men and women, adults. And it is much easier for me to coach men than it is for me to coach women because I can just get right to the point and be direct, and men will hold themselves accountable. And I don't see that as much with women. And I understand why. I'm not beating them up, but I understand why. The reason why is because in today's world, and I'm really referring to the modern woman. I'm really referring to the 35, let's call it 40 or 35 and down, 18 to 35, 18 to 40. The modern woman has kind of grown up with the social media age of the world. And we all know, we can all agree that the amount of attention that women have gotten has been more than they've ever gotten before in their lives. If you went back 60 years ago or 260 years ago, you had maybe 2 or 3 guys in your town, your village, your area that might be husband enough material, and you had a choice of 2 or 3, and that was it. So you, I don't want to say it was easier, but it certainly was less cumbersome. Now now you have 3,000.
Right.
You know, you go on a dating app as a woman, and you've got so many messages that you are choosing whom you respond to based on their first message to you. Meaning that if you've got 10 guys in your inbox and they all say, hey, hi, hello, you're skipping over the ones that have 1 or 2 liners, and you're replying to the guys who have put a little more thought into it.
Right.
I understand. I get it. But it doesn't really do much for weeding out the good men, right? Because just because a man puts a longer sentence down doesn't mean he's a better man or a good, better quality man than the guy who said, hello, how was your day? Right. And so I'm just not a huge fan of the vetting tactics that women often use, because they use it. They run their logic through their emotion. And in the Bible, it says that the devil will come dressed as an angel. And so if guys are looking to play games, if guys are not really the good kind of men you would want to be around you or have a relationship with, these guys know their prey, for lack of better words, right? A hunter knows his prey. I don't do a whole lot of hunting, but I know enough about it to know that these guys will build these wooden frames up in trees, and they'll sit there for 18 hours in silence and put deer urine on the ground and feed and
Trojan horses kind of thing.
Hidden cameras around to find out where all the livestock are, and they'll sit there for hours. Why do they do that? Because they know their prey. They want to know them. Well, men are hunters by nature. So if they know in today's world, women are going to respond to men who put a little more apparent effort into it than the guy who's looking to play games. If he's smart enough playing the game, is going to say a little clever opening line. My point, ladies, is you're not weeding them out. Okay, that's my point. A long story to say that quick thing.
Well, one thing, I mean, to that though, is that, isn't it? I mean, I don't know if we're further down the line here, we'll get into it, but isn't that a tautology? I mean, if you got guys that aren't your the 3-6s, all this, they see the guys that are getting all the action, for lack of a better way of saying it, and they're like, well, I can be the nice guy, or I can be the jerk, because that's what a lot of women go for. And then they figure out how to hunt. I mean, use your hunter analogy. If they were going out there with a rifle, wait until 6 a.m. when the season starts, and do it the right way, they're like, I'm coming home empty, no deer, no venison stew for me tonight. But then they see the other guy that's got all that equipment, that's doing all the this, that, and the other, getting all the deer. He's like, well, okay, I got to become a better hunter, and that's how to do it.
That's right. I mean, you have to adapt, and that's the reason why men are so good at. Do I say the word lying? I guess I'll use the word lying. Why men are good at lying? Because women pick their men off of what they hear. Men pick their women off of what they see. Not in all cases, of course, but in general terms, men are attracted to attractive women, and women are attracted to a man's future, his ambition, his success. So how he describes himself or his future is going to largely determine whether or not she's going to have him in her space. Right. So if we're not metaphorically getting out there with camouflage and deer urine to attract women, I would not recommend that, gents. Then how do we attract women? Well, we get a little more clever with our words, I guess. The Rico Suaves of the world know how to talk. The guys who struggle with communication are the guys who also will struggle with attracting women. Yeah. And we all know that. And now we know why. So today's podcast is going to be on 10 lies that women think that men actually believe. And it's going to be a podcast where it might hurt a few feelings. And I don't mean to hurt a few feelings, and I don't want to come across sounding like I don't love my females out there, because I have a whole lot of love for you. As a matter of fact, I can make a strong argument that if I wasn't absolutely honest with you and didn't care about your future and didn't care about wanting to see you have success, I wouldn't be honest with you and put my freaking neck on the chopping block to even have these conversations.
Oh yeah.
I would just do what most men do and just avoid it. Or do what most men do and just tell you what you want to hear. But telling you what you want to hear is exactly the reason why most of you guys have had some of the scars that you bear on your heart today. Because we've talked about this oftentimes, that the media lies to you women, and other men lie to you women. But boy, no one lies to women more than other women lie to women. So, I can make a strong argument that, people who are our friends that are not extremely close with us, those are the people that you'll hear say, no, Jimmy, I think you're right, this, that, and the other. But my closest friends are the ones that will shoot holes in my idea and give me the most pushback. And that's because they truly want me to win. And they're not telling it to me because they want to make me feel good. Of course they do. They care more about me succeeding than they do about me feeling good for the day, about what I'm thinking or what I'm doing. So I want to go into this, and my females understand that this is the true intentions behind why I'm saying this. I honestly want females to be happy again, because they are the most unhappy in today's time than they ever have been, despite the fact they make the most money than they ever have in the history of humanity, and despite the fact that they're the most educated in the history of humanity. Females have acquired things in status far greater in today's world than they ever have, but yet the happiness rate is lower than it ever has been. Because you've been lied to. And the lie, the perpetual lie, is this: the media and the world is getting women to believe in caring more about things than people. That's a short version of it. In the history of humanity, men care more about things than they do about people, and women care more about people than they do about things. That's why when you look at the engineers of the world, people who have to hyper focus on things, it's dominated by men. When you look at things, professions like nurses, to be a nurse, you have to be hyper focused and want to be around people. And those fields are hyper dominated by females. So if we go and we start to teach females to go out there and get the bag, to chase this and chase that, and not do what I believe God made us to do, which is our natural gender roles of people and things, and it starts to get skewed, women will show that they can thrive in that. And they have, they've done very well in their careers. A lot of women are doing very well with success, but they're not doing well with happiness. And that's kind of my point.
The percentage of women that are unhappy in today's day and age, a report came out. I think you're probably referring to the report like 3-4 months ago, where that percentage is through the roof, that women are just unhappy across the board. They're medicated. You saw that. I don't. I'm assuming you're referring to that medication. I wish I could pull it up here, but the medication chart shows men, younger women, and then the women that are 35 to 45. It just does this. I mean, it's like a plane launch. It just goes almost straight up. I mean, facts are women are unhappy today because they've been acquiring things instead of what they were designed to do,
which is love on people. Women create societies, women create homes, women create families, women create groups, women create culture, and they're doing less of that because they're creating things now. So another thing I want to say before I jump into the top 10, and another point I want to bring home is I don't remember if we talked about this last week. I think that we did. Did I tell you about the conversation that I had with someone, and one of my female friends had said that, what did she say? She said that men don't know women. Women know men more than men.
That,
know women. You remember that? Did we talk about that? And I laugh because it's just so untrue. And she, her face changed. She's like, what do you mean? That's not, what do you mean that's not true? That's absolutely true. And I go on to explain to her that, men are looking to court women. They're looking for intercourse with women, right? And who holds the key to that? Women hold the key to sex, right? Men hold the key to relationships. And so if men are trying to get sex from women and they don't hold the key to it, means that they can't just snap their fingers and get it. That means they have to work for it. And so what happens when you look at the personal messages of a man, he might be lucky to have 1 or 2 DMs. You look at hers and she has 40, right? Mm-hmm. Women don't have to learn men to acquire men, but men have to learn women to acquire women. If man does not learn how a woman moves and acts and what she likes and dislikes, he will not have himself a girlfriend. He will be passed over by all the guys who are putting in the work to learn women. In order for a man to attract the attention of a woman and to obtain her and retain her, he has to know a whole lot about women's behavior and what makes them tick and all those things. How much time and effort does a woman need to have to attract a man? 0.
Excluding makeup?
She could go out without makeup and get these
the
guys,
right ones.
Right?
Yeah, the right ones, yeah.
I mean, women have to put in literally no effort at all to attract more men than they can shake a stick at. And so what we've found is that when women have these men in abundance, they start to believe that men will accept them and take them for whom they are, because they have this to offer men and men still want it. So if they take their foot off the gas and they get a little heavier, or if they do this or do that, and it lowers their value as a woman, but there's still men who want it, well, then I guess I'm good enough because men still want it. Right. And they put in no effort to really try to learn what makes a man tick, how he thinks and things like that. So that's my argument, pretty much in a nutshell, of why men know women way more than women know men. And what they have, and this brings me to the number one lie that women think men believe. And the number one thing is, because of all that we just talked about, number one is that they think men do not have standards. That's number one. That's the first lie that women think that men believe, is that men don't have standards, and they are so far from the truth. And I don't know how many times I've had the conversation with women when they say, well, I don't have a problem getting a man. And I have to explain the difference between getting one and keeping one.
Yeah.
It's just complete polar opposites, right? A woman, her innate desire is to attract, acquire, and retain a good man of value. Right. The highest man that she can achieve with her SMV. SMV stands for those who don't know it, sexual marketplace value. Okay. And that is basically, if you're on the open dating market and there's a scale of 1 to 10, and 10's the best and 1's the worst, where would a man or where would a woman rank on that scale in the eyes of the other sex? Is a woman a 6? Do men all think that she's a 6? Is this man an 8 or a 4? Do all women think he's a 4? That's his or her SMV. And depending on whom you're talking to, different areas or different things, different traits will raise or lower that SMV. And it doesn't matter if a man thinks that, hey, I've done this, so I should be up a point. If women don't value what that man has done, it doesn't increase the SMV. So that's one thing that we all have to understand and learn, is that value is determined by the buyer, not the seller. Right. Okay. So when it comes to women, they really don't want to think and don't want to. Men also have standards, and the kind and the quality of the men that most women want, that small select bunch, that top 20% of men out there, the 2 out of 10 that rose to the top, that have put in the work, those men tend to have the majority of the options of the women, because women have created that. If 90% of all the women are looking for the top 20% of men, then that means that the top 20% of men have the choice of 90+% of the guys.
It's math.
Does that not make freaking sense? Does that not compute to everyone, including women? Okay, come on, you ladies, you have to know that. And some of you are going, oh yeah, I suppose that makes sense. And
but I'm special.
Yeah, some of you are going, oh, it doesn't matter. He'll still pick me because I have never had a problem getting a guy who's rich. Do you?
Yeah.
How's that ring finger looking? Okay, because that's how we count in today's world. We count on our marriages, not false proposals and not short-term
pillow talk.
Yeah, not how many men you sleep with, how many men you've kept. So, look, I'm not here to tell women who or what they should want. I'm just here to say, have you leveled up enough to be able to attract that? If I put you in a room with 100 of the men that you want, and there's 99 other women in that room, would those 100 men even choose you amongst the competition? Because ladies, you're in competition. And one of the first things that you can do, my female friends, is you have to understand that men absolutely do have standards. Just like you have your standards. And women have higher standards more than they ever have before in the history of humanity. Why? Because they have more options than they ever have in the history of humanity. When you have a ton of options, you have to sort them out, and you have to go, I'm only going to pick one, right? And I've got 100 to choose from. So I'm going to zero in on what I want. So now I'm going to sort by his height. Then I'm going to sort by his income. Then I'm going to sort by his physique probably and his charisma. And then you start to dwindle it all down into where, because the logic is, okay, I'm going to dwindle 100 down to 3 and pick one out of the 3. I get it. And I'm with you. All I'm here to say, ladies, is that you have to understand that men are doing the same thing. The top 20% of men have the choice of all of you guys, and they're selecting you guys down. And what do you think they're selecting it by? It's not height. It's not income. It's usually by beauty. It's usually by fitness. It's usually by femininity. It's usually by whether or not you have children. It's things like that, guys, ladies. It's things like that. And that takes a lot of you guys out of that loop. No offense. And
would you say though that it also changes as at least this man as a man gets older? Because I mean, when you're 18 or 19, it's like, does it have a pulse? There's differences there. But then as you get older, let's just say in your 30s and 40s, you're like, okay, I cannot put up with crazy. I cannot put up with drama. I can, the list changes. I can tell you based on me being married 3 times that when I was 18 or 19, I had a being able to put up with crazy and drama and nonsense. But as I've gotten older, I've come to that, I have zero room for drama, zero room for any of that nonsense. So and for the ladies, I mean, that number changes as a man gets older, what his priorities are and what he's looking for.
Sure.
Well, I mean,
you're right. And
I'm in my 50s now. I'm looking for a woman that can recognize this. I mean, some 20-year-old girl's not going to recognize that.
Right. No, a fair point.
30s and 40s is.
Well, when it comes to the crazy part of it, I think that men start to avoid crazy when they get into their 30s.
Yeah,
it really crazy. Most men only deal with crazy in their 20s because they want to run around and just poke on anything they can. Yeah. Once you get into your 30s, if you still have options, you're weeding out the crazy. By the time you get into 40s and 50s, you have zero tolerance for that. So if a woman is a little batshit, she's gonna have a hard time getting someone to marry her, right?
Yeah.
So no, you're absolutely right. There was a poll done, and the poll was taken from men of 18 years old to 60 years old, and it asked those men their preference on what age range they are most attracted to out of all the age ranges. And the age range that most men are attracted to is between 18 and 24.
Yeah.
Even all the way up to 60 years old. Call it creepy if you want, whatever. Look, at the end of the day, what does that tell you? It tells you the high value that men put on looks and fitness, and innocence and femininity. Because when a woman is that young, they tend to be less jaded, less scarred, less damage, lower body counts. When they get into their upper ages and they start hitting in the 40s, they've dated enough guys to where they're a little gun shy. They've visited a lot of places. It's harder to impress a woman that 40 years old or up because she's been everywhere. She's done everything. You date a 23-year-old, 24-year-old, she's usually still innocent and pure and lower body count and less scars. And you take her to a restaurant and she's like, oh my God, I've never been here before. And it's kind of nice. So I'm not saying that it's right or it's wrong, ladies. I'm just saying that that's the mindset. And if you were a man, you'd probably feel the same way. But understand this, my friends. Understand that men absolutely do have their standards. The standards are just not taken seriously in the eyes of women. But if women don't take these men's standards seriously, they're going to be in their 40s, unmarried, or sometimes without children. And there is, because at 35, you hit the wall. And as a woman, because it's not because you're not beautiful and it's not because you're not wanted, it's because of your fertility. Because one of the things that men cherish is youth. And the reason why is looks, but also fertility. Mm-hmm. So if a woman wants to be married, the leading reason for a man to want to get married, to give up all that he has to give up, is to raise a family. And if you're unable to provide him babies, or unwilling to provide him babies, either way, then that really lowers your chance of getting married. It doesn't mean you're not going to. You're just going to have to find a man who doesn't want to have kids, and or a man who already has children and his children are grown, if you don't want to be a stepmom. And now you're going to have to look for a man in his 50s. And that's okay too, if that's what you want. But that's the rub. So men have their standards. The rest of the men, the majority of the men, let's call it the bottom 80%, as crazy as that sounds, the bottom 80% of men, and that sounds so awful to say, in order for those men to get women, they're going to have to lower their standards a little bit, simply because their choices are not as vast as the top 20. So, but trust me, men still have their standards. Number two, the second lie that women want men to believe is that they think that the men that they friend zoned will always be there as a backup plan.
Oh God.
Men across the world are laughing at this. Women are like, oh, well, I mean, he'll be there. And men are like, oh my Lord, listen, even I've been friend zoned before. We all have been friend zoned. I'm not everyone's cup of tea on looks and whatever. I mean, I'm not going to be able to attract every woman that I want. I understand that. And no matter how much I level myself up, I'm not going to be everyone's cup of tea. And I have been friend zoned as well in the past. And I oftentimes teach men to not be friends with women, but I mostly teach women, don't have male friends. It's just a bad idea.
Oh, yeah. But, the crossover, the women, if they get with a high value guy, this guy knows what's up. He's like, you need to, get rid of your guy friends, because a shoulder to cry on becomes a blank to write on.
Right.
I mean,
right. So
that's an old saying.
Yeah, oftentimes, and I can almost feel through the podcast my female friends going, well, not everyone, not in all cases. Okay, no. Yes, I know that it's never all. Okay, but in mass, men and women cannot be close friends, because we all know what's going to happen. We all know. And even if as a woman you are not interested in him, trust me, he's still in the back of his mind is going, there'll be a day.
There's a chance.
There's a chance. It's only 1%, but there's a chance. And one day she's going to have her heart broken and my shoulder will be hers to lean on. So, it's just a bad deal. And for many reasons, but that's another podcast for us to cover on men and women being friends. But, it's a bad deal for a man to be friend zoned and be a friend to a woman, because men are looking for the sexual attention of females, and women are looking for mostly the non-sexual attention of masculinity in men. Right. And if you are a friend with a woman, in most cases, she's getting all of your non-sexual attention. She's getting a male's perspective. And when you and your friend that's a girl, go out to lunch, it's just innately in our mind because we are traditional by nature, men that is. Who pays for the bill?
Yeah, I
Right?
mean, if there's a lady or a guy, I'll just call him a simp, that's thinking, "Oh no, it's all pure." Shut up.
Exactly. So Dwayne, and I know you don't know the stat to this. I'm catching you completely off guard. I just want your opinion. Your opinion. You've been around the block, my friend. You're 50 plus years old. You are not new to life. In your best guess, just a best guess, if you had 100 different men and women friends, only friends, okay,
Right.
and 100 of these couples went out to lunch as friends, how many out of 100 do you think he's paying for the bill?
100.
So you think just about every single
90%,
okay.
okay. 90 to 100%. Oh yeah. That's because again, the men keep the more traditional roles for the most part. And I guess I'm talking about either the older men, because they still have an amount of raised by traditional values. The younger ones, if they're definitely simps. But yeah, I'd say 90% because the women will expect the tradition, even though they're friends, they're still going to expect that traditional. Yeah,
right.
90%.
I was thinking about saying as low as 70%, but I was probably
you're trying to be nice.
I was trying to be nice, right? But I probably would have landed on 80. So right there. So ladies and men, think about this, right? That's why women don't mind having guy friends, because 8 out of 10 times she'll have her meal paid for her, and she can still put him in the friend zone because she openly said, "Oh my God, you're my bestie. I'm so happy we're friends." And he hates hearing that, but he's still going to hang on to the hope that one day, right? Also, too, let me ask you another question. Out of 100 different times, right? Same scenario. They're in a restaurant. If someone comes in to rob at gunpoint that restaurant, how many times out of 100 will that male friend protect the life of his female friend with his life?
And he's thinking the way most of the, probably 100%. I mean, I would say high. Yeah, I would say high. I mean, another thing, it just hit me. It's like, if you think that guy friend is just a guy friend, he's not showing up at 2 a.m. to change your tire in some weird area or whatever because he's your bestie. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Right.
Unless he's married and trying to be nice for his wife. But those scenarios, or who can I call at 3 a.m. to cry on or do that? It's funny that some of these things actually have to be said out loud, that girls actually believe, oh no, we're just best friends and it's all good. No, he showed up at 2 a.m. to change my tire and it was great. Come on. I mean, you can't be that.
Come on. Exactly. And so that's what I mean, right? I'm the non-sexual attention of men. Yeah. So women get all the benefits of having that guy friend. And I'm not blaming women. I'm not saying, oh, you guys are so bad for wanting that. Look, I get it. If I was a female, I do the same darn thing. So I'm not judging you. I'm just saying that ladies, when you finally find a man that you want, you have to understand that man that you chose is a top tier guy, because you're not going to choose a moron for your partner, ladies. So that guy is an intelligent, wise man. At least can we admit that he's above the bell curve? Ladies, if you're going to choose a dude, you're going to choose a guy who's above the bell curve on intellect. And men know men. Men, ladies, whenever there's a big, huge room of people, and you're a lady and another lady walks in and you size her up, how you just know the heart and mind and soul of another lady? Why? Because you're a lady, and instantly, I don't like that bitch.
Yeah.
Right? How many times have you guys done that? That's how men are, ladies. We know the true heart and desires and thoughts of other men. That's why we're never going to be okay with it. Because even if you're right, ladies, and he falls into that 10% that truly doesn't want to jump your bones. If there was let's just go 100. If there was 100 gumballs in a machine and 10 of them were filled with poison and 90 were gumballs, and your child had a quarter, Would you let your child put a quarter in and risk the chance of getting one of the 10 gun balls?
Yeah.
Your child has a 90% chance that they will get a good gun ball, but would you still let your child do it? Come on, ladies, honestly, would you let your kid go in there with only a 10% chance of dying? No, you wouldn't. And so that's because you love your kids and you're protecting them. Women protect children. Who protects women? We do. And so I'm not going to allow my woman, and most men are not going to allow their woman to be in the space of a man, even if there's a 10% chance that he's a good dude. It's just going to be a hard sell, ladies. You're going to have a hard time selling that to a man. So I'm just letting you know. Okay.
Oh, they say he's a good dude. It's like, no, that's my job to be the good dude.
Right.
I mean, actually, could we take a moment here and admire Jimmy's goatee that he is? I think you've grown that in the last week. Got a little gray in there.
I do. I have a little gray in there, don't I, man?
Got a little gray in there, yeah. Well, they say I saw a meme the other day. Keep that gray in that beard. To sign the ladies. So good that you're. Just wanted to comment there for a moment. Doing the. I don't know if that's a little bit of fandom here from Jimmy to me. I don't know.
Can I tell you a secret?
Yeah.
All my friends, Dwayne, and all my friends here, I'm gonna tell you guys a secret. A couple weeks ago, when you look back at a podcast, I had all black because I did the Just for Men 5 minutes thing for the first time in my entire life. I did it, bro. I did it. I bought the box, and there comes with a little brush, and for the first time in my life, I did it, and it was way too much. I got jet black. I should have never got jet black, and it was jet black. I look completely ridiculous. I have had a goatee for years, and I got on a Skype call with a bunch of people at work, and my boss goes, "Oh, Jimmy grew a beard," and I did not grow a beard. It was just finally black, and I'm like, "Oh, Jesus Lord!" I felt so embarrassed. So yeah, it's all faded out. This is the real me. I don't know. I mean, it is what it is, man. I mean,
ladies or guys, hey, you know what? It's 2023. Why don't you go out there and comment on the goatee?
Yeah. Tell me what you think. I mean, should I? You know what I'll probably do is next week I'm going to go with the jet black again. I'm going to completely embarrass myself and then let you guys see. And I'll let you guys make fun of me because I know you guys probably love making fun of me. So anyways, the friend zone, right? One of the lies that women think that men believe is that they can be friend zoned and they'll always be there, right?
Yeah.
And when a woman is in her highest peak, when she's younger and she can attract any guy she wants and she can get into the clubs and life is just giving her the best of everything, she will have these guys who are likely around her age stay natural. All right, Kelly. Yeah. Kelly loves me the way that I am. She loves me the way I am. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you very much. Yeah. I actually think she's one of the ones that went, okay, what is up with this? And it was, anyways. So, if you're a female and here's what happens so often, right? A female will want to get out there when she's at their highest value, right? And when she's the most beautiful and the most fit, and she wants to pass up all these good dudes, all these good men that just want to love her and be with her and all these things. And then when a woman starts getting into her older age and she starts getting closer and closer to 40, and she realizes that her eggs are not regenerating and she's past the wall. Now, all of a sudden, she wants the good man because she's chased all the bad boys. She's chased all the guys who are acting and singing and rapping and they're sports guys. Yeah, all these guys who make a bunch of money that probably ain't very good men. She's chasing all the things that she thought she wants. She has a whole bunch of scars. She realizes, well, that ain't working. And so she's
carousel.
Yeah. And she's rode the rooster carousel for trying to keep this PG. And it kind of happens just like men, how men go, hey, I don't care if she's crazy. And when they're in the 20s, but when I'm in my 30s and 40s, now I care about crazy and I want a good woman. Women are kind of say, okay, well, I'm going to chase all the bad boys. I'm going to try to convert these bad boys to turn them into good guys. And then she hits the wall and she starts getting a little older and she wants to settle down because all of her friends have already done so. And now she looks back on these guys who she friend zoned and she goes, well, Derek was always so good to me. I mean, he was there for me through all my hard times and he was a shoulder to cry on, all these things. And where's Derek? Well, Derek has 2 kids and Derek's the director of IT, making $180 a year, and he's doing well for himself. And she's now trying to decide if she's telling Derek that, oh, you know what, I don't know why we never took it further.
Oh yeah.
And Derek's going, oh, dude, you know, like, listen, I'm married now, and
yeah.
So, ladies, just understand that the guys that you friend zone today, you're welcome to friend zone whomever you want. It's your life, but they're not going to be down. They're not going to be waiting for you forever. Okay.
Right.
And if you don't want them when you're at your highest, you have to understand they're not going to want you when your value's lower and their value's the highest. Because Derek made himself something. He's now the director of IT. His value's high. Your looks and your fitness have likely waned a little bit, and now you're wanting this high value man, and it just doesn't work that way. So just want to be fair to you guys and just let you know.
And stay out of their DMs. I'm not going to say be personal here, but you know what? The guy's moved on. He's got a family. He's happy. Quit trying to break up his marriage. Just gonna throw that out there. No personal info on that at all.
Yeah.
It's nuts. Because I mean, not to say that was my story, but you know, when I was a kid, I was a fat dork. Now I'm just fat. Well, no, I'm a fat dork still. But apparently there's something else about me. And any of the girls back in grade school and stuff, they, you know, hey, what's going on? Oh my God, I can't, you know, and it's like I've got, you know, zero desire. You know, you go back to your 3 kids by 3 different baby daddies and whatever things you got going on there, and I'm going to live my life. You knock yourself out. The time, you know, unfortunately for, you know, probably a number of people watching it that now realizing it, but, you know, I guess maybe teach your daughters, hey, give the nerd a chance, give the, you know, go for the good guy versus the bad boy, and see how life turns out. Maybe a little bit different.
Have you ever been friend zoned?
I mean, I would say friend zone. Yeah, there were. Yeah, I remember some. Yeah, embarrassing. Yeah, like I remember I had one girl like, you know, well, maybe I may date you. I don't know. Back when I was like, you know, 15 or so. And then afterwards, I think everyone's been friend zoned. That, you know, you were wanting something more out of the relationship. And then just as, you know, well, I think it's just naturally, as you've talked about a number of times, you know, the guy's like, hey, I'm going to make something out of myself. I'm going to try to do these things, and they come back a success. And then all of a sudden, those same people that friend zoned, you're like, hey, what's going on? Or they have the nerve to go, you know, my kids come first, which I find hilarious. But I mean, it's happened. It happened to me. I know myself. I know other people it's happened to.
That's a perfect segue into the next one. Number 3.
All right.
Good job. Number 3, the third lie that women want men to believe is that men aspire to or don't mind being stepfathers.
Okay. As a bonus dad, I can tell you that
take it away, Dwayne.
Fat lie. Because let me just kind of throw this down for you. One is, you know, your attention is going to be for your kids, hopefully. That's not always true. 2 is the bonus dad or the bonus parent. I'll just leave it, you know, gender neutral. The bonus parent that comes in has to deal with a whole slew of issues. Yeah. It's actually a very difficult job because you have, well, sometimes and oftentimes the trauma of, coming in after the breakup of that family. I mean, the facts and the data is that, women, 70% of the time, they're the ones that file for divorce. There was usually, trouble in paradise. Well, try to keep as gender neutral as possible. But for whatever reason, the family broke up. And then the new person comes into it, and he's trying to forge a relationship. He's walked in 35, 40, whatever years after this family has started. And now he's got to navigate. He's got to learn he's got to learn the new partner, or he or she needs to learn the new partner. And then the kids are looking at this person replacing their parent. No matter what's said or what's done, they have their own trauma they have to deal with. And then you have the ex who's either jealous or whatever, and there's that fight back and forth. And you got to avoid the white knight because you don't know if your ex actually caused 90% of the problems. And you've got to navigate all that. As far as not minding being a bonus parent. I enjoyed it. in the sense that I got to kind of impart knowledge on yet somebody else aside from my own bio children. But I'll say, I mean, personally and just looking at it academically, it's a lot of tough work. You're being put down, lied about. You're trying to navigate if you have bio children and then your bonus child, trying to integrate the two and all. There's a million issues that come from that. I could sit here for hours and talk about just academically all the challenges. Yeah,
let me jump in and ask you a few questions, because I think it'll hit home a little harder coming from a man who has had his own children and a man who has had stepchildren.
Yeah.
And this is, so I'm going to ask you a couple questions if you don't mind. Whenever you were a stepfather,
mm-hmm.
did you raise those kids as vigorously and as you did your own kids, meaning that you raised them just as good and spent as much time as you could raising them? Or did you find that you said, these are not my kids, I'm gonna put half the effort in?
No, I was at least me, I was all in, or I am all in. I tried to raise bonus child with the bio children the same. Actually, even at times I would change the punishment or reward or whatever slightly. Actually, I would put mine, that's a failing on my part, put my bio children on a lower, not treat them worse, but I would hold them to a different standard, which wasn't as high as the bonus child.
So you spent as much time and effort in raising another man's children as you did your own.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever spend your personal hard-earned money on your stepchildren?
Yeah. Equal. I mean, they all have the same, iPhone plan. We all went to Disney. We got birthdays, Christmases. They each got the exact same. I mean, I'm a budgeter. So, it was every Christmas, they would each get X number of dollars. And then and almost down to the penny. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean,
so you spent the equal amount of time, effort, energy, and finances.
Oh yeah.
The money that you could live in your retirement years on someone else's children.
What's that? Retirement.
Yeah. So when you put all that time, effort, years in, and all that money, when you and that lady split, what was the custody rights that you had? How did that look?
But slightly different. I'm talking about my current one, but I had none. Got none.
Did you have any legal custody rights to your stepchildren that you spent all that time, effort, money, and energy on?
Right. It's talking academically. You have none. I mean, basically, they can. Yeah. That once she takes her bio children, your stepchildren, you get zero. And yeah, I read about those all the time. The pain that, because the guy. Let's just talk about the guy. The guy has spent. He's grown attached to those children, those stepchildren, and then when that relationship breaks up, rips them away, and you never see him again. And the courts will not give you any type of access whatsoever.
Zero, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And my final question, it's a couple questions. Knowing you, I already know this answer. Were you the leader of your household? Yes, right. So you bear I guess my question is, did you bear the responsibility of leading the household?
It was stated. I bore the responsibility. I tried my darndest to lead as the leader of the family.
Yeah.
Was there challenges? Yes.
Of course. Right. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
Did you find that in terms of your stepchildren, did you have the same authority over your stepchildren as you did your own children?
To be blunt, no.
All right. So ladies, do you see where I'm going with this? Dwayne and millions of other men, in order to be a stepfather, you have to understand that they're entering into a bad deal. Why would a man want to enter into a deal where he has no authority, but all the responsibility, and the responsibility of still raising kids that are not his, even at the same time and effort and energy, and all his money? If there's 4 people in the household and just one of those people are like, if you and him had a kid and then you and another man had a kid, so there's 2 children, and then you and him, 4 people. 25%, 25 cents of every dollar that Dwayne makes goes to a kid, a child that's not even his. And then it's just money thrown down a hole. And he doesn't even at the end get any sort of incentive or benefit or, have any sort of rights to that kid. Men don't want to be stepfathers by and large. So you have to understand that if you're a woman and you have children that are under 18, they live in the household, it's going to greatly hurt your chances of finding the kind of man you want on the open dating market, because you're in competition with the ladies that don't have them. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean that you're done? You can just stick a fork in it, just die alone? No, it doesn't mean that. It just means that you're going to have to understand that your kids they're not an asset to him. They're an asset to you. They're an asset to you, but they're not an asset to the rest of the world. To the rest of the world, they're just another child. To you, they are everything. But to the rest of the world, they're just another child. To another man, they're a liability for so many different reasons. So if you're on the open dating market and you're out there and you're competing against women who are your age or younger without children, that means that you're going to have to step up your game in other areas to make up for things that might be detractors. And guess what? That's just life. Okay. That's just life. There are much better looking men out there than me. There's more men that make more money than me. There's men who are going to outperform me in a bunch of different areas, but they're not going to outperform me in all areas. So I'm going to have to step up my game in areas to offset things that I can't bring to you if you and I were dating, ladies. So that's all I'm saying, Kay. You have to understand that men are not okay being stepfathers in the year 2023, and I don't see it changing anytime in our lifetime. So that is one lie that women want men to believe, that it's okay, or men aspire to be, or they're okay with being stepfathers, and it's just not true. Ever since the feminist movement of the 60s, men's roles have been changing, ladies. Now, nowhere is this more evident than in the role of modern fathers. Before the 60s, fathers were portrayed like Ward Cleaver. You guys, for my older people out here, remember Ward Cleaver?
Oh, yeah.
He was a hardworking man who would come home from his office. He'd set his briefcase down. He'd get in his comfy chair. He'd read the paper while his wife cooked and the kids played outside. And as a father, the family would look to him for pearls of wisdoms to help solve their problems. And whenever he said something, it was ironclad.
Yeah.
It was not to be questioned, right?
Yeah. Now, and June wanted him to be hard on the beaver periodically.
Yes. So and that was good. And so that was just 50 years ago. Women's roles have changed substantially, and with it, fathers' roles have changed as well. Nowadays, fathers are portrayed much differently. Instead of Ward Cleaver, fathers are now regularly portrayed in the media more like Homer Simpson.
Oh, yeah.
Think about all the shows that we watch: Simpsons, Family Guy, King of Queens, Everyone Loves Raymond. All these shows, and there's more. How are the men portrayed in these shows? They're portrayed as the men of the household, but they're incompetent. They're
bumbling
dumb.
Idiots.
They need to drink more Duff beer,
Yep.
And despite the fact that they're expected to be dumb and incompetent, they're still expected to do more than ever before. Like, men are expected